Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
My name is Madeline, and for the last 4 years, I've been the night archivist at the Orson Goddard Historical Society. It's a job most people would call boring. I call it a sanctuary. 3 floors of silent history, the scent of old paper and dust motes dancing in the beam of my flashlight. During the day, Kenny, the security guard, patrols, but after 8 p.m., it's just me and the ghosts of forgotten documents. I loved the solitude. It was predictable, until the Orson Goddard sound collection arrived. It came in a series of heavy, dusty crates from a distant relative, dozens of wax cylinders, and an ornate, antique phonograph. Orson Goddard, a reclusive inventor and amateur folklorist from the early 1900s, apparently recorded everything, from local gossip to the rustling of leaves. My task was to catalog it all, a meticulous process that normally offered a soothing rhythm to my nights. The first time I heard it, I dismissed it, a faint, almost imperceptible whisper. I was cataloging a box of brittle letters, surrounded by the usual creaks and groans of an old building settling in for the night. I thought it was the wind, or perhaps the old pipes in the wall, a trick of my tired mind. I'd worked too many double shifts that week. But it happened again the next night, and the night after that, always from the direction of the newly established Orson Goddard collection display. Faint, breathy sounds, like someone trying to clear their throat, or perhaps trying to form a word they didn't quite remember. The phonograph sat on its display stand, unplugged, its brass horn gleaming dully in the low light, completely inert. My usual calm began to fray. I started checking the building's old ventilation system, even climbing a ladder to inspect the roof for loose shingles. Nothing. The whispers, however, grew bolder. They were still indistinct, a murky flow of sound, but they felt closer. And colder. An unnatural chill started to pool around the collection display, a damp, heavy cold that felt older than the building itself. One Tuesday, I found the phonograph's arm, which I always kept locked down, resting gently on the base of a cylinder. It hadn't played anything. No sounds, just a silent, unsettling repositioning. I locked it down again, my hands trembling slightly. That night, the whispers were no longer just a murmur. They were attempting speech. Fragmented, guttural sounds like a child struggling with new sounds, or something entirely alien mimicking human speech for the first time. "Here, you." I thought I heard, or maybe my mind was just desperate to make sense of the noise. I started taking photos of the wax cylinders. The surface of some of them, especially the one resting under the phonograph's arm, seemed to have subtle, intricate grooves that weren't there before, like tiny, fractal patterns forming in the wax. I tried to convince myself it was just dust or a trick of the light, but the more I looked, the more unnatural and deliberate the patterns appeared. My own body started feeling strange. A slight hesitation when I reached for a book, my fingers moving a fraction of an inch past my target. A fleeting sense that my movements weren't entirely my own, like a marionette with a momentary glitch in its strings. I'd catch myself staring blankly into space, then snap back, unsure how long I'd been lost in thought. One particularly dark night, the building's old wiring flickered, plunging the exhibit hall into momentary darkness. When the lights came back on, the phonograph's horn was pointed directly at me, and from it, clear as a bell, came a voice. Not Orson Goddard, not human. It was my voice, whispering my name. Madeline. The sound of my own name, distorted and echoing from that antique machine, sent a jolt of pure ice through my veins. The air in the room became so heavy it felt like breathing water. I stared at the phonograph, frozen. And then, slowly, deliberately, my arm rose, my fingers curling, mimicking the very gesture the entity seemed to have made with the phonograph's arm. It wasn't my will. My body just did it. I stumbled back, my heart hammering against my ribs. I knew then that whatever Orson Goddard had recorded, it wasn't just sounds. It was a presence, and it was learning. Learning from the recordings, from the air, from me. I didn't turn off the phonograph. I couldn't bring myself to touch it. Instead, I grabbed a heavy velvet curtain, normally used to protect a fragile map, and threw it over the entire Goddard collection display, sealing it off. I then bolted from the exhibit hall, locking the heavy oak doors behind me with a clang that seemed too loud in the sudden silence. I called Kenny in the morning, babbling something about strange noises and faulty wiring. He just grunted, probably thinking I was finally losing it from too many night shifts. He said he'd send maintenance. I didn't correct him. How do you explain an entity that learns your name, mimics your voice, and makes you move against your will? How do you explain that you feel a lingering chill not just in the air, but in your very bones? I haven't been back to the exhibit hall since. I work only in the modern archives now, surrounded by newer, less ancient horrors. But sometimes, when I'm alone in my apartment, I hear a faint whisper, just at the edge of hearing, and I catch my reflection in the dark window, my hand making a subtle, unbidden gesture. It's still learning. I don't know what it wants, or if it's truly confined to those old cylinders. I just know that sometimes, when I'm not looking, my own hand makes a movement I didn't intend. And it makes me wonder who's really in control.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.